Welcome to a Real Estate Wisdom podcast with Vish. I'm your host, Vishal Kapoor, a realtor with Century 21 Miller Real Estate Limited in Ontario, Oakville, Canada. And today we're going to dive into the rental process for newcomers in Canada. I know, like when we're talking about newcomers Canada, I think about like a lot of challenges, what they face. And I will tell you like my personal story. I landed like 24 years ago in Burlington, Ontario. And my experience was not as bad as like what I heard from the other people. But later, like when we were looking for another apartment, not my initial apartment, I have to go through some of the process. And working along with a lot of people, like my friends or people who moved later, I found like how much hassle they go through because they don't know the process, they don't know where to settle down, they don't know where to start, and especially it's get hard when you come with no job. So today we're going to dive into that. I wanted to start with my personal journey, just like I mentioned. It's been 24 years in Canada. I'm like so happy that this land has welcomed us, and this become our like workplace, right? So we built our home over here, we raised our family over here, and it's a wonderful country to live in. But things always like are changing. It's not always same what it used to be. So when I landed in Canada, I was lucky enough to have the support of my family, my brother-in-law. He helped me secure a one-bedroom apartment in a beautiful building close to Spencer Smith Park, if you know where it is, right on the lake. We have the Joe Brant Hospital. Bus service was like a right there. You come down in the building and you just catch the bus. There was a close-by mall, grocery store, and connectivity to a GO train to go to Toronto. At that time we were looking, Toronto prices were high, just like these days, right? And you go in suburb, it's cheaper. Same apartment that time, I remember it was around $1,400, $1,300 for one bedroom, and we secured like around $1,100 in Burlington. So that was significant for us that time, especially like a newcomer. But we were lucky, and our experiences were like smooth sailing. But a lot of people don't go through that process and they struggle. I found like many people, they have no choice but to get to the basement apartment with the landlord who has less than accommodating. The apartment is damp, poorly lit, and lacked proper ventilation. And that's not the experience which you want. When you're coming to the new country, you want to settle down over there, especially when you're coming on a PR or even coming on work visa, and you convince your family to move with you for a better experience. But if your initial experience is not that great, you get disappointed. And you think, did you make a right decision? Well, I can tell you, from my journey and with the experience in last 24 years, and especially like a 12 years experience as a realtor and helping hundreds of clients, I will say, help in securing the property for lease and providing the experience which can be smooth as it can be. And I'll go through the process. So this episode is for newcomers to Canada. And if you have a friends or family who is coming over here, you can pass or share this episode with them to understand how the process works, because that's very important. So finding your first home or apartment in Canada involves several important steps. And here's a detailed guide to help you navigate this journey. So, initial consultation with the realtor. I know like a lot of people, they rely on their friends or family, but maybe their lifestyle is not same. Maybe they don't have the same interest. For example, you might require a neighborhood which have good schools, and they are single or like a couple only, and it's not that important for them, right? So everybody give their information based on their experiences. But if a professional realtor who's specializing in leasing process, they have the wide range of area. So I would say like I begin by meeting with the realtor who understands the unique needs and lifestyles of you. This meeting is very crucial as it allows you to express your preferences, budget, and any specific requirements you may have. A knowledgeable realtor will explain the rental process in detail and answer all your questions, ensuring you feel confident moving forward. Because that is very important, because if somebody doesn't know what your needs are and what your requirements and what your lifestyle is, you're going to settle down like somewhere. And then you say, hey, and because you're signing the lease for 1 year. So in Canada, like, you sign the lease for 1 year, and so then you get stuck sometime, right? If it's property is not right for you and you have a bad experience. So having that initial consultation is such an important thing. What the realtor will do after that, it will not only explore the online platforms to look the property for you. The best one is like a realtors.ca, where most of the properties get listed. But there's others ones, like for example, like condos.ca, PadMapper, and Zoomper for listing that match your criteria. So your realtor can also provide access to exclusive listings and insights all into neighborhoods that align with your lifestyle. So if you have the right realtor, they're just not trying to give you information based on their preference or their convenience. They will look for places which fits your needs and lifestyle. One thing I want to tell you, not all the realtors do the leases. And the reason behind that most of the time, unfortunately, is because they don't get enough money out of it. There are more documents, there are more process that they have to follow in getting somebody for the apartment for rent or house for rent. So not all the realtors do that. I know like these days, most of the realtors started doing that because the market was slow, sales was not happening that much. So they're also doing the leases. Even people who were rejecting leases before or giving it to the other realtors they want to do. I started like this one long time back because I look into my niche, who I know, what my network is. And I found out like a lot of newcomers coming, and I've been referred to those newcomers as well, because mine is like, building the relationship with them. And I nurture them to make them understand not only the process in Canada, but also other aspects of living over here as well. What are good schools, for example, my own experience, and especially people who coming from India, I can speak their language as well. So, and that commonality, like a lot of time what happened is you bring more trust with them. So that's what I found. And these clients of mine who once rented with me have become more like a family now. And I'm blessed to have such a wonderful clients with me. So that was my story. But I'm telling you, like there's a lot of realtors who's willing to help you, and they provide the similar or even better experience. So once you select the listings, before coming to a lease, I will say spend time in the communities you're considering, and this will help you get a feel of the neighborhood and ensure it meets your needs, such as proximity to work, schools, public transport, and other amenities. Maybe the grocery store of your ethnic grocery store is important to you because that's what you like to shop around. However, in GTA and most of the even big box stores start carrying, ethnic and international food aisle they have. So don't have to worry about. Your realtor will also guide you exploring online platforms, which I mentioned, but it's also set up the search for you based on your criteria. So in that way, you start getting the listings based on your criteria and your budget. Once you visiting the property, I know like a good realtor always take you where are good neighborhood and safe and property is well maintained. That's what he should be, or he or she should be helping you with. But when you see the potential home, pay attention to the condition of the property. Look for signs of dampness, check the lighting and ventilation, and ask about maintenance procedures. It's also wise to speak with current tenants if possible to get a sense of the landlord's responsiveness and the overall living experience. A lot of time it happens like, I'm going to in the elevator and somebody who's already living there, I just talk to them and you come to know if they found any issues living over there. It might not be the landlord. It might be the property management company or the building management. They not taking care of that properly. Or the other issues are happening. So you come to know from there, pretty easily when you look around and look into detail. Ask questions. That's such an important thing. A lot of people moving from other part of the world where the heating system is not the same, air conditioning system is not the same, and you don't know what to look for. Ask those questions, and I know again, like a good realtor, able to explain everything to you. Now, biggest challenge comes out like when I'm talking to newcomers and they think, hey, I saw this property, look into the realtor.ca or Zillow or this place or that place, and can I send it to you? Can you tell me or can show me that property? And what I say, hold on. Let's look into, let's prepare everything first, and then we go and see the property. So how the process work for me, and it's very effective, I will say, because I also work with a lot of relocation clients. Companies moving them over here because of the work. Somebody got promotion. The company wants to relocate them to Canada to work here for 2 years, 3 years. So I work with the relocation company, and we have created the system and process in place, which is very effective. And if you are a real estate agent who watching this episode, I will say incorporate these, and it will be very helpful to you. It's not only save your time, it's your client's time, and also it will not give you disappointment. So, first thing first, prepare essential documents, because landlords typically require several documents to assess your eligibility as a tenant. First one, if you have the employment letter, a letter on your company's letterhead stating your annual income, position, and length of employment. You don't need the full contract. You can just have the one-page letter, and most of the company and HR will provide that to you. Credit check report, obtainable from Equifax or TransUnion. These are the two major companies people recognize. This report provides a snapshot of your financial history. I know you're going to ask me, like, well, in my country, I can't get the credit report. Well, most of the countries they do. If you don't have the if you don't have the credit report, there's other alternatives, which you might have to pay extra rent. You might have to show your bank statements that you have enough money to cover your rent. Especially like if you don't have job, then it's get a little bit difficult. You don't have a job, you don't have a credit report, and now you want to live in this place. How are you going to do that? Well, it's get really little tough. But there's always a way. There's always a way. And that's why I say, like, experienced realtor can help you in navigating that process. Another thing is, like, fill out the rental application. Ask for that rental application from your realtor, or he will provide you, and fill that out completely. You don't have to include your SIN number, your social insurance number, or your financial things, but other things which you have to fill out. And also get like a references, ideally from individuals residing in Canada, such as colleagues, family, or friends, and that can help. You'll need those. So have those documents prepared, and even other supporting documents. Consider including bank statement, which I mentioned. A family photo, that could be helpful because the other agent or landlord haven't seen you. So they don't know what you look like, where you're coming from. So include the family photo, that'll be great. Or additional identifications to strengthen your application. If you don't have a driving license, then share your passport copy, your work permit, or your PR. Say, hey, you know what? I'm here to live. I'm not here coming for temporary only and going to go away and disappear one day. So they will feel more secure. Because reason behind that is Canadian rental system is more favor tenants than landlords, unfortunately, or fortunately. It's need to be a little balanced, but I'll say like it supports more tenants. So in that case, what happens, landlords are more concerned who they want to give the property. And most of the time, like they prefer like a local who already have the credit report and who already have the employment and they have some history. But somebody coming from new country, they don't know about, they get a little bit concerned because they're taking a risk, right? So more information they have and more realtors' ability to present your case positively, that will help. And now, once you get all the documents, your realtor will evaluate it and see what the contingencies are there and what can be done in order to present your case. Now come to the term like assigning the lease. Once you find a property you like, you need to complete and sign several standard forms, including the tenant representation agreement, which is the agreement between you and your realtor. And that will explain most of the things, what his fiduciary duties are towards you. So don't be afraid of like signing that, because it's that agreement, because it's in favor of you. And the other great thing is like you don't have to pay your representative. It get paid from the landlord. Landlord pays the half month rent, like which is like a normal, to any agent who's bringing the tenant. However, it might happen that if you're not liking that agent of yours, you can cancel that tenant agreement. But in some of the cases, like, if you've seen the property, for example, with him, and then you decided later that you connected with the landlord and you did the, deal outside, because landlord wants to save commission, and you go behind your realtor, you have to pay the half month rent as his commission or her commission. But it between you and realtors, like how you deal with that. A lot of time you don't have to, because everything went smooth. But just in case it didn't happen, so have mindful of that. Read your agreement completely and ask any questions you have. The other document which you have to sign is like a RICO guide, which actually like very good, like it's a new one, which explain everything, like how what is like what his realtor's duty is, like and what he what rules he has to follow, so you understand completely. Then there's going to be a confirmation of corporation, which will be signed by not only you but the other agent and the landlord as well. It's confirmation of corporation that the brokerage, realtor's brokerage or realtor is going to get that portion of commission which they have mentioned on their MLS system, and they're cooperating. So once you sign that, also like you off the hook anyway. And then finally the agreement to lease. So agreement to lease will mention about property address, landlord's name, your name, amount you want to offering, or what they're asking prices for that lease. Also, if it includes first and last month. So basically, first month you pay in advance, and the last month is like a security deposit, which landlord will keep. And then there's going to be like from what date you can take, how long that's the term is going to for your lease. There's also will be like what is the irrevocability. For example, like if you have put an offer today, sometime it's like 24 hours, like which you have to put in there that landlord to decide. Sometime it's 2 or 3 days, because he has to verify all your forms or your documents, your employment, and have to double check. So he has to do his due diligence. So in that case, you just might have to wait a little bit in order to get. And then there's also going to be about like conditions. They not likely the conditions, maybe like the one condition could be like a verifying your employment. But there's are other clauses like rules and regulations which you have to follow. For example, can you paint or change anything without the permission of your landlord? Most likely not in most of the cases. In some cases, like they accommodate. In some cases, they don't. You're going to need a tenant insurance to cover the liability. You're going to need set up the new utilities. So these are the things which you're going to use. You have to sign on. Now, looking into giving some information like on what's the prices look for, because a lot of people get really, really surprised. So this is for those people who are thinking to moving to Canada. And when they look into internet, like sometimes they get the different information about the prices, and everybody like look for the lowest one, right? But that's not true. So you have to look into like a budget yourself. Is that worth moving over here or not? Because you will get like a lot of surprises in terms of cost of living, which is like very high in Canada, and it might get you get disappointed. So knowing all that information will help you, and I can help you with that. So as of 2024, here's a snapshot average rental prices in the Greater Toronto area. 1-bedroom apartment, approximately $2,300, $2,400. 2-bedroom apartment, approximately $3,200. House's average rent for a house is around $3,500. So these are like just average. But again, depending upon the neighborhood, what kind of property you want. Basement apartment these days going on like a 2-bedroom, kind of $2,200, $2,300. which not everyone prefer because it might not have a proper ventilation or light. However, like in some of them, they are designing beautifully, like apartment. But all the properties might not have that flexibility. So those ones you can get like a cheaper as well. Again, depending upon what type of budget you have and what kind of life you want to live. Also, you have to consider additional expenses. For example, like utilities, insurance, moving cost, security deposit, parking fees in some cases. So utilities, this can include electricity, water, heating, and internet, which are often not included in the rent. In some of the older properties, it might be the part of the condo fee which the landlord is paying, and you don't have to pay additional, which will be wonderful that you one lump sum which you can paying. Insurance, why it's important? Well, tenant insurance is recommended to protect your belongings, not only just belongings, but also the liability. For example, you have some accident happen, and for example, you left your stove on and it creates the fire. Well, you're liable for it. Insurance will cover you. Somebody come in your house and they slip or fall. It's a liability. It will cover for you. So there are several benefits on that, and most of the landlords require that. Okay, so be prepared. Moving costs, like again, if you're doing a temporary accommodation somewhere, then moving from there, most likely you're not going to have a furniture when you're moving new over here. But also, like if you're relocating and you're bringing your furniture over here as well, you have a big moving cost. Sometimes companies pay for it. If your company is paying, that's great. Avail that. But also consider when you're moving over here, like this is very interesting. I remember I have clients from Singapore and they were moving over here. And they were looking at houses based on their furniture, which is unimaginable because they have a bigger furniture and the apartments over here were the smaller size. Their king size bed, which is bigger than a king size bed, won't fit in then a 2-bedroom apartment. So that's a waste. So my recommendation is most of the time, don't even bring your furniture, even your company is paying for it, honestly, because you will end up selling. So rather than like just sell it over there, dispose off, and when you come over here, buy the furniture based on your needs, which can fit in your apartment, and that will be better and less hassle. Now, look into challenges like most of the newcomers faced. Lack of Canadian credit history, right? Without this, landlord may be hesitant. Providing additional documents like bank statements can help. So there's always some alternative. It might be a little bit difficult, but there's always an alternative. Other challenge will be deciding where to live. With the limited knowledge of neighborhoods, choosing the right location can be daunting, and spending time in potential areas and consulting with local realtors can help. So do your due diligence, like, talk to your relatives, talk to your friends, what they recommend. At the same time, look for yourself, like, where you will feel comfortable. So make sure you do that, right? So those can be challenges. Other bigger challenges like understanding the rental market. The experience which you might have in your own country, it will be different than what you find in Toronto or Greater Toronto area or in Canada. Here, the market can be competitive. Being prepared and acting quickly when you find a suitable property is essential. And that's why I always enforce that. I don't show the properties until I have all the documents ready, because it will be the waste of your time. You're going to be more disappointed if you don't get that property. Property is very dynamic. Like a rental market is very dynamic, I will say. So things move pretty fast. Soon you have seen like somebody putting an offer on that and it's gone. So my recommendation, be prepared. The other constraint, challenges can fade, like employment and budget constraints. So without a job, proving your ability to pay rent can be challenging. You might need to show sufficient funds or find a guarantor to co-sign the lease. I know it can be like a difficult little bit because you might not want to take a favor of your friends or relative, but it might help because you will be the paying rent and they will be just guaranteeing it to the landlord that in case you didn't pay, they will be taken care of. Like they will take care of that. Hopefully not, like you have the good relation and also they trust you. So don't put them into trouble because they're trusting you. But no, things can happen. There's always a way of doing things, but it can be challenging. But if you do your prep, you know what to expect, then it become easier. Okay. So in conclusion, finding your home in Canada can be challenging, but with the right preparation and support, it is achievable. By working closely with a realtor who understands your needs, gathering necessary documents, and thoroughly evaluating properties, you will be well on your way to securing a comfortable home in Canada. Remember, learning from both positive and negative experiences will help you make informed decisions. So, are you ready to move to Canada? Or are you thinking of moving to Canada? Or are you already moving to Canada, but you didn't have this information? And if you're not moving, you're already living over here. And if you know some of your friend, family, your colleague who's moving over here, pass this episode to them so they can learn. And if you need any information, I'm always here to help. Or even you can reach out to your own friend, realtor, who can help you with that. So, welcome to your new journey. Have a wonderful day and have a great long weekend, which you might already have because this is coming out today. So, happy Labor Day as well. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to put your comments. Happy Labor Day. Bye for now. Disclaimer. The information provided in this podcast is for informational purpose only and should not be considered as financial or investment advice. Consult with your professional before making any real estate decisions.